I mean, just the most in-time drummer ever.
Oh, I don't know.
That plays so hard,
Yeah.
and means every beat.
Oh, yeah.
You put your heart and soul to every beat,
Oh, yeah.
every take, every time. And that's why there's no one like you.
Well, thank you. I'm just wired that way. I mean, there's no other way to do it. You know what I mean? And you're that guy as a producer, man. That's why I was saying what I was saying, man. You're so passionate about everything. It's like everything is. I mean, when we were doing that Meat Loaf record, I didn't know it was so intense between you and me. Now I've done a bunch of Meat Loaf records, and I know how he can be. And there was one day I remember you were just explaining something, and it wasn't like play this beat, but you were explaining it like theatrical. And I'm like, and I like that. I was like, it was up to me to figure out what you wanted. But the biggest thing that you were trying to convey, which was not happening, was a certain kind of energy and emotion. That's what's brilliant about you. Because, like I said, people are feeling creatures. It's all about emotion. It's all about feeling. It's like you figured out, Kenny, you're the drummer, but I want this emotion, right?
Right.
You're the drummer. I'm not a drummer, you're the drummer. But I want this kind of vibe. Meat Loaf comes in and goes, I want some Latin. And you went, what the fuck are you talking about? I want some Latin. And Meat goes storming off. And I go into at that point I went, all right, this isn't good. I said, I'll give you Latin, not knowing what the hell he means. So I'll give you Latin. So all he wanted to do is know that somebody would give him Latin. So all I did was go, dude, God, just move the snare drum over one thing and did a little dingy ding. He says, yeah, that's what I want. It wasn't Latin, but
it didn't stay on the record either.
You remember that?
No.
I probably
did. There was no Latin on Bat Out of Hell 3.
No. Well, that was that's why you reacted. It's like, are you kidding me? Latin on
that was so off-brand.
Yeah, he, at that point, it was probably because you guys, he was just trying to
test me.
Yeah, and I read in that chapter, I mean, he kind of buried that record.
He did?
He was kind of like, it was his way of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was his way of saying, I don't need to work with Jim Steinman. I can do this myself. But at the same time, he was burying it. Like he didn't want everybody.
He felt guilty because, he really should never have gotten into the, legal battles he did with Jim Steinman over the brand Bat Out of Hell.
Right.
Because all Jim wanted to do was call his musical Bat Out of Hell, and it was all a collection of his songs.
Right.
And it took nothing away from Meat Loaf. And in fact, it built him up more.
Right.
But Meat Loaf was saying, no, that's the name of my trilogy, and that's the name of my brand, and you can't use it. And they got into a fight. So that's why Jim didn't produce Bat Out of Hell 3.
Right.
So then they brought me in, almost like I didn't realize that they didn't care about me.
No, did you know what you were walking into?
No, I didn't. And I was made to record 7 Meat Loaf songs, not Meat Loaf songs, Jim Steinman songs that Meat Loaf had never recorded that were on Jim Steinman's other projects, like It's All Coming Back to Me Now, that he did with Celine Dion.
Yeah.
And so I created a duet with Marion Raven from Norway.
Oh, I did. What was M2M or... They were a band, Marion Raven and somebody had a band.
Right. So, there were 7 songs that were Jim Steinman songs. And some were from a vampire musical. Some of them were on Jim Steinman's solo album because, Jim was holding back the real songs for Bat Out of Hell 3 and wasn't giving them because he wasn't going to give them until he got what he wanted, right?
And you didn't know anything. You were figuring it out.
So I put songwriting camps together to come up with great songs. So that's when I first wrote with Marty Fredrickson.
Yeah.
We wrote a song called If God Could Talk.
Great title.
So then Meat Loaf insists that, one of my idols, Todd Rundgren, come in and do the background vocals on like a few songs, and that was one of them. And you see, I go way back with Todd because I was the coffee boy at Bearsville Studios when I was 17.
Really?
Yeah.